My name is Ryan. I've been working the graveyard shift at a Shell gas station on Route 9 for about 18 months now. I was working the overnight solo, which is normal for our station after midnight, and that's when someone walked up to the window. Female customer, maybe mid-30s, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses even though it was the middle of the night. She asked for $40 on Pump 3 and 2 packs of Marlboro Reds. The one notable thing about the encounter was that when she went to pay, she didn't use a card. She slid a $20 bill through the slot, then another 20, but she didn't wait for me to process it or give her change. She just walked back to her car and drove off. When I looked at the bills, I noticed something weird. There was writing on one of them in red ink. It said, "You look tired, Derek." My middle name is Derek. The only people who know my middle name are family and maybe some old friends from high school. I definitely don't have it listed anywhere. I stood there staring at that 20 for a minute, trying to figure out if I knew this person, but I couldn't place her face at all. Eventually, I just pocketed the bills and tried to forget about it. About a week later, she came back at night wearing same hoodie and sunglasses. This time, she bought $30 in gas and a bottle. Again, she paid with cash. Again, there was writing on one of the bills. This one said, "How's your sister doing?" That's when I started to feel really uneasy. I have a sister. Yeah, but we're not close. She lives 3 states away, and we talk maybe once a year. There's no reason a random customer would know I even have a sister, let alone ask about her. I wanted to say something, to ask who this woman was, but by the time I looked up from the bill, she was already pulling out. Every 5 or 6 days, she'd show up between 2 and 4 a.m., always buying gas and cigarettes or a drink, always paying with cash that had writing on it. Each one made me more paranoid. This person was learning things about me that they had no right to know. But here's the thing, I still couldn't see her face clearly. After about 3 weeks of this, I started documenting everything. I wrote down every message, took photos of the bills. I thought about going to the police, but what would I even tell them? Some lady is buying gas and leaving me weird notes? Then about 2 weeks ago, things escalated. She came in around 3 a.m. like usual, bought her gas and cigarettes, but this time the message on the $20 bill was different. It said, "I know you were there." I don't know, what was she talking about? I was where? I called out to her as she was leaving. She got in her car, rolled down the window just enough for me to see part of her face in the parking lot. She smiled at me. Then she drove off. I went back inside shaking. I couldn't work the rest of my shift without constantly checking the windows and expecting her to come back. When I got home that morning, there was an envelope taped to my apartment door. My full legal name, including Derek, written on the front in that same red ink. Inside was a photograph. It took me a second to understand what I was looking at. It was a picture of a car accident. A sedan wrapped around a telephone pole. The photo was dark, taken at night, but I could make out details. The license plate was partially visible, and I recognized. That was my old car, the one I totaled 4 years ago. The one I had wrecked leaving a party drunk when I was 20. The one where I'd driven away before police arrived because I was scared and stupid and didn't want a DUI. Nobody knew about that except me. I'd buried that memory so deep I'd almost convinced myself it never happened. But somehow this woman knew. I didn't sleep that day. I called in sick to work that night, then the next night too. I kept staring at that photo, trying to remember if anyone had seen me that night, if there had been witnesses. The crash had happened on a rural road at like 2 a.m. I'd been a loner, so I thought. My manager called after my second missed shift, said if I didn't come in the next night, I'd be fired. I couldn't afford that, so I went back. The woman didn't show up that night, or the next. I started to hope maybe it was over. Maybe she'd made her point. Then 5 nights ago, she came back, bought gas and cigarettes. But this time, the message on the 20 was an address. I recognized the street name. It was in the wealthy part of town, up in the hills where the big houses are. She paid, took her stuff, and drove off. I stood there looking at that address, my hands shaking. I knew this was building to something, and ignoring it would only make things worse. So after my shift, instead of going home, I drove to that address. It was a big house, modern design, probably worth over $1 million. There was a car in the driveway. I sat in my car across the street for 10 minutes, trying to decide what to do. Finally, I got out and walked up to the front door. Before I could knock, it opened. A woman stood there, she looking at me, and I recognized. She was older now, her hair different, but I knew her. Emily Morrison. We'd gone to the same high school. She'd been 2 years ahead of me. We'd never really talked, but I remembered her. She'd been in some kind of accident senior year, something bad. I couldn't remember the detail. "You don't remember me?" she said. "Emily," I managed, "from Jefferson High." "Close enough," she stepped aside. "You should come in." I didn't want to, but I did anyway. She led me to a living room and I stayed standing. 4 years ago, she started. My brother was driving home from his friend's house. He was 17, a student, planning to go to college. He never made it home. Someone ran him off the road that night. He died before the ambulance got there. She pulled out her phone, showed me a photo. A kid, maybe 17, smiling in a graduation cap and gown. His name was James. We called him Jamie. I started, but she held up her hand. She said, "You reported your car stolen the next morning. The police found it 2 days later, abandoned with front-end damage and blue paint transfer. Blue like Jamie's car. But by then, it's too late to test for DNA or anything useful. And you'd filed that insurance claim already." I couldn't speak. I've spent 4 years trying to prove it was you, trying to find witnesses, evidence, anything. But there's nothing. Just my certainty and a license plate number I saw in the police report photo. Your old license plate. She sat down, looking tired. I tried again, but the words wouldn't come. Because I did remember. Not clearly, but in flashes. "You killed my brother," she said. "And I can't prove it. The police won't reopen the case. There's no evidence. You're going to get away with it." She stood up. "So I wanted you to know that I know. That someone knows what you did. That Jamie's death wasn't just some random accident. That you took someone's brother, someone's son, and you've been walking around free while we've been grieving." I didn't say anything because there was nothing to say. I got in my car and drove home and threw up in my bathroom. I haven't been back to work since. I called and quit over the phone. My manager was pissed, but I don't care. I've been sitting in my apartment for 5 days. I keep looking at that photo she gave me. A 17-year-old Jamie Morrison died because of me. I don't know what to do. I can't go to the police because she's right. There's no evidence anymore. But I also can't just keep living like this. I killed someone, living with it, knowing, having to see that kid's face every time I close my eyes. Back when I was younger, me and my friends loved to go fishing.